Welcome in to SportsbookReview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the college football show. And it's week 4. And there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The SEC is officially back. We got Florida State, Miami this week. A lot of things working this week. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to get Alabama back on. I can't wait to get LSU back on. We are going to have ourselves a weekend. But before we talk about any of that, do yourself a favor. Go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We got a great team behind the scenes. We got a great team of writers, a great crew. You're going to like what you find over there. All the content that you will need for the college football season all the way through the end of the year. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you head over there and make sure you're subscribed to the show. Very easy. Click the notification thing right there. That way you will know when the show goes live. Hit the like button, share the show out, tell your friends about it, and go ahead and jump in on the chat. We've already got Aaron Wolfgang that jumps in. Hey, guys, love the show. Hey, we love you guys as well. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be a fun time. We'll go ahead and tell you that. Let's go ahead and talk about last week's recap. Not good for me. Really not good for me. Recap on the week. I went 2-4. And my late night games did not go in my favor.
Yeah, it was the evening slate that caught you off guard.
Yes, it certainly did. Louisville did not pull through for me, and I was irate with Satterfield's defense. That thing is awful. So Louisville, not good. Wake Forest, couldn't get it done. Is what it is. You, however, went 3-2. Not too bad. So
that's the goal every week. That really is the goal.
Now we both hit Marshall.
Yes.
But man, you were rocking and rolling. So I felt good about how things went last week.
Louisiana Tech just didn't make it easy.
Oh, no, they didn't. You had to sweat that one out. It is what it is. I'm 11-9 overall. That is fading quickly. You go 2-4. That's not a good thing.
Good.
You are 6-10 and rising rapidly.
Listen.
It's a good thing.
You can't have a massive comeback if you don't dig yourself a big hole. This is important, guys.
You are so
You
correct.
start off hot, you got nowhere to go but down.
This is true. This is true. All right, we have got some fantastic games to discuss. The biggest game of the weekend. It's where College Game Day is going to be. I don't know how big it really is now because of what happened in week 2 in the first week of ACC play, and that is Florida State at Miami. This is rotation 395 and 396. Look, Miami has looked fantastic. Florida State has looked awful in their only game. And now Mike Norvell has COVID. He tested positive. He will not be coaching.
Hadn't coached all week.
Yeah, has not. Well, he's been remote, right?
Yeah.
So
it's been community.
It's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC, by the way. The team total, or not team total, the total is 54 points here. 11.5 for a game that's 54 points. I mean, you're looking at 35 to 24-ish.
Yeah,
you're
asking for 1/5 of the points.
Yeah,
the spread.
That's insane.
It's pretty big.
Yes, it most certainly is. I will say this: these two teams, talent-wise, very similar.
Oh yeah,
I do really like De'Aaron King.
Well, yeah, one has a quarterback.
Yes.
And the other one, if Blackman plays,
well, he's playing.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying that's a problem.
Well, now here's the other side of this. The issue that Florida State ran into was offensive lineman Devontae Taylor. He went out in that game, and as soon as he went out, that offense turned to complete crap. Don't forget they also had a super long rain delay, and you know that things go a little crazy whenever that happens, right?
True.
So you've got all of that kind of stuff that was going against them. However, it looks like he's going to be back this week. The team looked better with him in than with him out.
Correct.
He's a massive part of that offensive line. 11.5 seems like a ton of points. Now, I'm not going to bet this because one team has looked great against maybe suspect teams. I'm not going to say UAB is suspect, but the talent advantage for Miami.
Just not close to the same.
Yeah, it's not even close. And Florida State played against Georgia Tech, who is well coached, and they're just kind of a wild card, right? So we'll see what happens with this, but I would lean Florida
Are we picking
State.
these games? Don't we pick the top 5 games of the week?
We can. All right, I'm going to take
Florida
Florida
State.
State.
We have to pick them. They're not our gambling picks, by the way.
These are not our official gambling picks.
But we always pick them, correct?
We haven't, but we will now.
I didn't know that.
It's all good. I'll take Florida State.
I just only sit here every week.
I'll take Florida State plus 11.5.
I would take Florida State as well with all the points. I don't like it, though. I'm with you. I'm making it very clear. This will not be a gambling pick.
Oh, absolutely not. The prediction.
We always pick the big games.
Well, we do that on our NFL thing. Oh. But either way, the prediction tracker, which is an average of all the different analytical sites, they have got this at Miami minus 8.3. So, under 10 is what it is. Aaron Wolfgang said, how is FSU Miami in primetime? FSU is trash. No coach this week coming off a loss. Well, here's the deal. ABC does not have the rights to any SEC matchup, and who else are you going to throw in there? Texas Tech.
Somebody brought up the best game of the weekend that ABC should have picked up.
What, Cincinnati Army?
That's Cincinnati.
Oh, most certainly.
They should absolutely be in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, yes. David McCarthy jumped in. Notre Dame versus Wake Forest postponed, according to sports. Yes, no. Postponed due to COVID issues over at Notre Dame, but it is what it is. Let's move into the second biggest game of the week.
Okay.
At least per TV schedules and whatnot, and that would be Mississippi State at LSU. That is rotation 433 and 434. LSU a 16.5-point favorite as it sits currently, and that one has kind of been all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Opened at 16, and then went all the way up to 19 and a half.
Never hit 20.
Came all the way back down.
And then came back down. It's just been kind of a little roller coaster of a line.
It has.
This is my team. I'm excited. And this is my coach on the other end. I claim him. I love him. Followed him everywhere he's gone. Wanted him to come to the SEC. I'm excited he's here.
But now he plays against your team in week 1.
I'm okay with that. Let's get it done. And I will be cheering on Mike Leach from here on out.
Total is 56 in this game, which last year would have been laughable.
Well, yeah, LSU would have dropped 56 by themselves. We don't think that's going to happen, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think so either. I won't be upset if it does, but I'd still go the over.
Oh, probably.
Mike Leach is going to find a way to get to 20.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I've seen this dude lay eggs in football games against really good teams. Those really good UCF teams. USC teams? Oh, wow.
USC, yes.
Yes, that's the team out in Southern California that used to be good. Those really good Oregon teams. And he still scores 20.
Yes, I will say this. Vitalis jumps in here. He said take under all defense, right? LSU, Mississippi State. Well, in the past, maybe. But,
this ain't Chapawpaw's Mississippi State team.
At the same time, though, we got to figure out, is Miles Brennan actually any good? Is KJ Costello on the Mississippi State side actually good? I love the Mike
Costello.
Leach. Yeah, we've seen him.
I think Costello's good. I thought Costello was good in Stanford's offense. That was boring as hell and I didn't like.
That's true.
If Leach calls you, you got the goods. There's no question in my mind Costello's going to play fine.
That's a very good point.
And I love LSU. And I love our defense.
Well, see, they're
going to find a way to put up 20 points.
That's the LSU side is you're number 127 in returning production in the entire country.
That's right.
Switching from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 defense, okay. Mississippi State at one point had covered 4 straight against LSU. Now LSU has covered 2 straight. State scored 3 points against LSU 2 years ago. They scored 13 points last year. I honestly might would lean the under here, but I don't feel good about it. Jared Trader jumps in. This might be a sit and watch game. No need to force a play. Not sure what you're going to get from either team.
100%. I will not be betting this game. I will not be playing this game. If you're going to play this game, I'm going to tell you, there's just 2 moves. You bet the Tigers, you bet the over. That's it. That's what you do. That's how you do this. This is not that hard. It's not that complicated, all right? It's like ordering pizza. Just don't put pepperoni on it. You'll be just fine.
Are we getting a Louisiana 3-way this week?
I haven't even put together a parlay. Let me.
It's all good.
I forgot all about that.
But while you're thinking about that, let's go ahead and who you taking the Tigers in the over?
I would bet the Tigers.
I'm gonna go Mississippi State here.
I think that's the right move.
I think that's
the right move.
Plus 16.5.
Mike Leach getting more than 2 touchdowns. That doesn't seem smart.
We don't know if he's there. I mean, it's
no. So the one thing I do know, and this is the only analysis that we can bring that I know from Mike Leach and following him. This guy has made it abundantly clear through his history of coaching, he can install his offense in 2 weeks. He doesn't need months. He doesn't need years. He doesn't need timing. He doesn't need everything. He will tell you I can do it in 2 hours.
Well, that's Gardner Minshew for sure, and several of the quarterbacks.
Many quarterbacks. It's just a revolving door. And it's really easy. It's really simple. He simplifies things for the receivers and for the quarterbacks. The blocking scheme is real easy because they get the ball out of the hands real fast. So real analysis. I'm not worried about, is this offense going to work? I've seen it work with far lesser talent at 2 other places.
True.
Mississippi State's got more talent than if you took the best of Washington State and the best of Texas Tech and made a team. They don't equal the talent State has right now.
That is true. The overall talent.
Overall talent.
Yeah, Texas Tech. Don't forget Patrick Mahomes. All that. I understand.
But
that was
Patrick Mahomes wasn't.
I know it wasn't a Leach guy.
I'm talking with Leach. Leach's guy. You give me Graham Harrell.
They had Baker Mayfield there too.
Leach didn't have.
I know he didn't have him. God,
if he had Patrick Mahomes, he would have won a national championship.
Maybe.
And he
got to have somebody to throw to.
And Patrick wouldn't have ended up on the Chiefs.
I think you're probably right about that.
Went to the Browns.
Oh, God. Let's move on. Game number 3 here. That is Kentucky at Auburn. This is a 12 p.m. Eastern time game on the SEC Network. Total is 49 on this. Auburn sitting at 7.5. I think it's mostly 7.5 across the board right now.
It's pretty 7.5 across the board. You can find a 7. What is it, Bovada?
Bookmaker has got 7 right now. There's a few other spots.
You can find it a couple places. Just bet.
Yeah, a few others. BetMania, etc. So go over to SBRodds.com and you can find your. But
it's officially under 8 now, because I was seeing it at 8 earlier today, and the fact that there's no 8 on the board is a good thing if you like betting Auburn. It's a bad thing if you're wanting to play Kentucky. You're probably not seeing 8 again.
No, probably not. Coy Moore jumped in. Didn't Mississippi State get a transfer quarterback? Schrader is not the guy to run Leach's offense. No, they got KJ Costello from Stanford. Yeah. So with this one, we've already got guys jumping in. Says Matt Miller, that defense is still garbage. Paul Riggs said take the points in Kentucky. Look, the analytics average out over at the prediction tracker. Auburn minus 11.3. Auburn has significantly more talent. Where you might see this game close is in the trenches, right? Kentucky's got a great offensive line and a great defensive line, and Auburn is replacing a lot of guys, and that's totally fair. Now, the offensive line, they got guys coming back on that, but defensive line, they got Big Cat Bryant, and then they got whoever's next up, right? But they've always got guys. Can Bo Nix take the next step? That is where you're going to figure this out is, okay, is this team really good because Chad Morris came in and made Bo Nix actually a good quarterback? Because he wasn't great last year. But even still, they have got a stable of running backs. They have got skilled talent all over the field. And Gus Malzahn and Chad Morris.
The speed in that wide receiving core is the most exciting speed I've ever seen in my life out of wide receiver.
I'll go ahead and say this. Auburn, as a favorite of 7 or more, 6-1 against the spread in their last 7.
Yeah, if they're supposed to beat you, they do.
And they beat the brakes off of you. And Gus will be enjoying a nice Waffle House dinner after the ball game because Waffle House is open in Auburn, Alabama. So I got to tell you, this is one of my official picks. I'm taking Auburn minus 7. I'm taking them minus 7.5. I like them anywhere under 10. I think that they win this game pretty reasonably.
Garrett on the 8. I like Auburn too as a pick here, not as a gambling pick. I will take Auburn as well.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love Kentucky. I love what Mark Stoops is doing. But I think this is maybe a little too much of a spot. I think there's too much hype around Kentucky in this spot. I have seen this before. You remember how much I bet on Kentucky even 2 years ago. I mean, that 10-3 team went to Georgia. And no, Auburn is not Georgia. But Auburn's close to Georgia.
Auburn's not far from Georgia. That is their rivalry.
Yeah,
they have been flipping spots with Georgia the last couple of years.
It's true.
Okay, it's not like Georgia owns them 10 years straight or something.
Anthony Schwartz, Matt Miller jumps in on YouTube, says that they still have Anthony Schwartz, don't they?
Yes, the most exciting player in all of college football.
Yes, they do. Darren McCardle said Auburn minus 7.5. Yeah, that's how I'm rolling. That's how I'm rolling. Now, I've got it at 7. I bet it at 7. I take it all the way up to 9.5. Just saying. That's the way I roll.
Worried me at 8, but now it's under 8, so I don't care.
There you go. Let's move on to game number 4 here, and this is one that is not a P5 matchup, but it was interesting enough and big enough that we wanted to go ahead and talk about it. That is Army at Cincinnati.
Best game of the weekend.
3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. The total on this game is 47. Cincinnati sits at a 14-point favorite here. The analytics say that this should be Cincinnati minus 9.9. The game was scheduled on August 26th. That is less than a month ago they decided to do this.
That's good.
Well, the last time that we saw this, where a team had less than a month to prepare for the Army option, was Middle Tennessee.
No.
And I know it's not the same. I get it. I know it's not the same. But this is still not very much time to prep for this.
A month isn't enough time?
I'm telling you.
Call every team that's ever played the triple option in bowl season. 2 weeks is what you need.
Agreed.
2 weeks is what you need.
But I don't think that Cincy is too worried about this option. So maybe I'm wrong. They didn't have to play Navy last year.
2 weeks.
So they haven't seen the triple option in 2 years. Just saying. Now they do have a ton of senior leadership on that defense. They return all of their defensive line. They return all of their secondary. However, they replace their 2 biggest linebackers. So that could be a bit of an issue because you need good linebackers and you need smart linebackers when you're playing against the triple option.
Yes.
Army has looked absolutely outstanding so far. And now both of these teams, well, Army had a week off last week. Cincinnati played against Austin Peay and
destroyed them.
Beat the brakes off them. As Verno would say, the Austin Peay brains.
Yeah.
And just destroyed them. I mean, it wasn't even close. Ritter looks great. All that good stuff. I would probably side with Army here. 6-3 against the spread as a 10-point underdog in their last 9.
Big number.
I like Army in this spot to keep it within. I mean, this could be a 35-24 kind of game. That's what I'm looking at it as. The 47, I don't like that. I would probably go over the 47.
I don't know. I think Army's going to have a really hard time to score.
You think so? Matt Miller said, if Army goes undefeated, do they have a shot at the playoff? No, they do not. They would really need that BYU game to be rescheduled, and they need Cincy to basically go undefeated. They need BYU to look really good. There's just not enough on that schedule. Just not enough. Aaron Wolfgang said the real story is if Army's defense can get off the field and bend don't break against Cincy's offense. That's true. That's true. Aaron Wolfgang.
Cincinnati's real good, though.
Army is plus 425 on the money line, by the way. Aaron Wolfgang said Army wins outright. Paul Riggs, Army in the points. And now okay, here we go. Josh Benedict, Cincy will smoke Army. You know what? Man, I feel weird about this now.
Yeah, you didn't put it out there.
100% of the wagers are on Army? 100%? Oh, I'm iffy on this.
Don't you bet against Luke Fickell. They're just a better football team.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, because Cincinnati was 2-5 against the spread last year as a favorite of more than 10 points.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I'll take Cincinnati in this spot.
Go ahead.
I don't love it. I'm not gonna bet it. I am gonna watch every second of this game though. This is the best game of the weekend.
You might be right about that. Let's move on. We got an SEC nightcap for you. Tennessee at South Carolina. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on the SEC Network. And the analytics here have got this Tennessee minus half a point. And yet they are favored by 3.5. There is not a team in the country that has more hype on them coming into this season than Tennessee. They are currently ranked in the top 15.
I think there are a lot of teams that have more hype than them.
Who?
Well, you don't think Ohio State has more hype than them?
Oh, good. I'm talking about other than the top 3 contenders.
Okay.
Who else?
I'm sure there's plenty more. You live in Tennessee country. This is why you get this. People from outside of here are not inundated with rando Tennessee fans.
You might be right about that.
Overhyped about their football team.
I will say this: Twitter is inundated with.
It's because the people you follow.
No.
My Twitter is not.
This is a national.
That is not true.
This is a national thing, and the national people love Tennessee and they love Jeremy Pruitt and this and that. Will Muschamp is going to get fired and blah 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 blah. All these things, right? Tennessee won last year, 41-21. They've covered 2 years straight against South Carolina. Last year was their first ever win against a Will Muschamp coached football team. Kind of surprising, right? They covered 2 years in a row. You wouldn't think it'd be anything crazy, right? But I got to tell you, I like Muschamp in this spot.
Well, you know I love Will Muschamp.
I'm going South Carolina plus the 3.5. That's going to be one of my official picks.
Okay.
Because I think that South Carolina at home can win this game. Muschamp, there's not a lot coming out from them, right? They got the new offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. They just named Colin Hill, the graduate transfer senior quarterback from Colorado State, as the starter over Ryan Helinski, who was the starter last year.
Right.
They got some dudes, and they got dudes on that defensive line and on that offensive line. They got skilled players. I think that there's a realistic possibility that we could have South Carolina winning that football game. Not just covering 3.5.
That wouldn't shock me.
But
that
winning
wouldn't
the game.
surprise me at all. That's not even like a massive upset. It's a good upset, though. 3.5 points. I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I like South Carolina. I like South Carolina a lot, and I'd probably take the points.
Yes. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
We agree. I don't think anybody's really blowing that much smoke about Tennessee, though.
Man, these national guys have been all over Tennessee.
I don't follow any of these people.
So, and to give Tennessee a little bit of love here, Jim Chaney, second year, you would think we're
I've been a
something
national
better.
guy that's been buffing Tennessee the last 2 years.
Jared Garantano.
Yeah.
I hope I said that right.
Garantano.
And I swear for 2 years I've been saying that name wrong. I can't trust him. I don't know what he's going to do with the football.
No.
And he's still the guy. I need them to get a quarterback in there for me to feel good about that football team.
That's fine.
So I'm going to take South Carolina in these points here, and we'll figure it out from there. We'll go from there. Let's move into the interesting games. These are the rapid-fire games for the weekend. And the first one up is the morning slate. We'll go through those. Florida at Ole Miss. That is a 12 p.m. Eastern time game on ESPN. That's Dan Mullen going back to his old stomping grounds, and Lane Kiffin in his first game back in the SEC since he was a head coach at Tennessee, really, unless we count the Alabama time. But either way, he knows a little bit about Dan Mullen. He knows a little bit about Florida for sure, and Dan Mullen sure knows a little bit about Ole Miss. This is interesting in storyline alone, really, and the spread itself is interesting. It's 14.5 right now.
Yep.
In favor of Florida. The analytics say it should be 11.67. Dan, they cover a lot of double-digit spreads. Like, when they are supposed to win by a sizable margin, they win those games. Except for when it's Kentucky, I guess. I guess you could say that. But I'm not going to bet this game because I don't know what to expect yet. But if you're looking for continuity and whatnot, I think Florida would be the way to go on this one. You got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, this is in my gambling picks.
Oh,
you want me to save it for then? Or you want me to give it now? And
Nope, save it for then.
Because we just run through the picks later.
Yeah, we just run through the picks later. Go ahead, talk about it now.
All right, so I would be taking Ole Miss.
Okay.
I like Ole Miss because of the number. You're getting over 2 touchdowns. 14.5, pretty much across the board. Find it pretty easily. I really like continuity. Dan's got that in spades.
Yeah.
Okay. He is Mr. Steady Eddie. All right? And that's just what he is. That's fine. That's not fun. That's not fun. I like chaos. I'm going to ride with the Lane train. Listen, this is not your mama's Ole Miss team. Okay? When Dan Mullen steps in the stadium, he is not going to be welcomed well at all.
You got that right.
He was a major part of Ole Miss and Mississippi State toxic relationship. Okay? And it's just not going to go over well. I think Florida is a better football team than them. I think they have far more talent than them. I think they're going to win the game. I don't know that they just come into Oxford and blow them out. I think Lane's got these guys fired up. I think Lane's got them believing, and I think Lane is going to have them ready to play.
You might be right about that. I'm staying away from it because I think that Florida could win this one by 3 touchdowns because I think there's that much of a talent gap.
There is that much of a talent gap.
However, it's an early game. You never know what happens with these, especially road games in the SEC. Florida having to go all the way over to Mississippi.
I had tickets to this game. Had a chance to be at this game. Can't go. That's fine. People that I love love with all of my heart are going to be there, and I want to be there with them.
I can understand it. Speaking of love, Talia Turner says, love y'all show.
Thank you, Miss
We
Talia.
appreciate that for sure. Paul Riggs said Ole Miss and the points. And, yes, Talia says, go Gators.
I see that.
EAB927 said Iowa State minus 2.5, my best bet of the week. Love the show, guys. Hey, you know what? We're going to get to that here momentarily. Let's roll into the Big 12. Kansas State at Oklahoma. This is a 12 p.m. Eastern time game on Fox. It's the big noon kickoff game, and we ain't sure if this is going to happen or not. Oklahoma is a 28.5-point favorite here. It's a lot of points. That's a lot of points against the team that beat you last year. Kansas State won 48-41 last season. It was in Manhattan. This one, of course, going back to Boomer Sooner land. The analytics say that it should be minus 18.1. However, the people around Kansas State think that this game may not happen because they've got too many positive tests. They've got too much contact tracing, etc. In the Big 12, you have to meet a 53-man threshold, and you have to have 7 offensive linemen. You have to have 4 defensive linemen, 1 quarterback, etc., etc. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. But I would lean Kansas State just because everybody seems to be on Oklahoma.
The just sheer volume of points.
Yes.
It's so much. But you know how I feel about these big point spreads.
Oh, yeah.
You get close to 30, I'm out.
There you go.
I'm out.
Aaron Wolfgang jumps in and says, Boomer Sooner, and Paul says, my first time here.
Hey, Paul.
We're glad that you joined us. Spread the love, click the like button, hit subscribe, all those wonderful things. If this is your first time here, make sure you jump in the comments. We would love to hear your opinion. Let us know what your picks are. We want to hear your opinion on the game. With that said, we're going to move into ACC. This is another 12 p.m. slot. This is Louisville at Pitt. And at first, I thought that this was maybe a bit of an overreaction. Now, it's sitting at Pitt minus 2.5 or minus 3 in some slots. But I thought, man, there is no way that Pitt should be favored over Louisville. And then he started digging into the numbers. And I watched against Miami last week. Louisville's defense is complete garbage.
Yeah, they're not great.
So, I'll go ahead and tell you this. That's one of my picks.
There you go.
I like Pitt minus 2.5 here a lot. The more I dug into these, the more I was in love with this Pitt team, right? They didn't look great against Syracuse. It is what it is. However, the only thing in this game that I know that I can trust is Pitt's defense. Pat Narduzzi, I trust his defense. I trust that defensive line. I trust all of that thing, all of that. Satterfield's defense, I don't trust. Louisville's offense only put up 6 points in the first half last week against Miami, and I think Pitt's defense is better than Miami's.
That's going to be a problem.
Paul says Pitt minus 3.5. Hey, I'll take the minus 3.5 too. I feel really good about Pitt this week. I think that the Syracuse thing last week, I think that they were looking ahead to this game. I really think Pitt is going to come out strong in this game. Now, that might change by Saturday. We'll see. Don't forget about the closing line show on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Jump in with us. It's going to be a good time. Every Saturday morning, we do that. Paul says Pitt will win outright. Earl Preston said, you guys are awesome. Lots of energy. Appreciate that, Earl. And Aaron Wolfgang said Louisville Pitt is a toss-up. Wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Both teams 1-1 against the spread. I think Narduzzi and Pitt get the win because of schematic exposure Miami exploited last week. That's the thing. I can't trust Louisville's offense. I can't trust Louisville's defense. I can't really trust Pitt's offense, but I can trust Pitt's defense, and I think that's going to give me the win. So, you feel any certain way about that?
The only thing that I worry about is let's just not overreact to Louisville bad week.
Oh, yeah.
We know that Satterfield's a good coach.
True.
We know that he's going to make adjustments. Louisville will not look like they look like against Miami.
However, that defense did look against Western Kentucky.
It's fine.
Like they did against Miami.
I'm just telling you, this team overall is going to be better.
You might be right.
They're going to be a better football team.
You might be right about that. Moving on to the Big 12 here, and that is Iowa State at TCU. Now, this is a surprising game. 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. We might have a wrong team favorite here. Iowa State is favored by 2.5. The analytics say that TCU should be favored by 5.17. And
that's a lot of points.
That's a lot.
I mean, that's a lot.
Now, TCU has had to deal with COVID issues and whatever else. Max Duggan is back, the quarterback that everybody thought he was just done for the season because he had a heart issue and whatnot. Well, they cleared him. He's practicing this week. Looks like he's going to play. Downing is the starter for now, we think. But, man, we both love Gary Patterson, right?
Yes.
This seems like the perfect spot.
2 years straight, that man's teams have disappointed. That is rare.
And we know they got talent.
Rarely, it's usually an every other year thing for him. For him to have 2 bad seasons in a row,
oh yeah,
just look out.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they've been dealing with injury issues and whatnot, and now I feel okay about this. I like TCU. Aaron Wolfgang said TCU has not played a game yet. What's the win-loss for teams who haven't played versus teams that have? It is up until last week. Well, no, I think it counted last week. It was 6-2 against the spread in favor of the teams that had not played against the teams that had. So last week you had Louisiana Tech, you had Boston College, you had a slew of teams, right? That's where it gets a little crazy. You also had Kansas State, who lost against Arkansas State, who had already played. So there were some variances here and there, but it was 6-2 against the spread. That's a pretty sizable number. It's not a massive sample size, but even still, these teams that put stuff on tape then come out and get the brains beat in. It's not a good thing. I like TCU in this spot because I like Gary Patterson. I just, that's where I'm going with it. Matt Campbell, I don't want this to be an overreaction to the Louisiana game.
No, because we think Louisiana's good.
I think Louisiana's a good football team, and I think that game was closer than the 31-14 final score. However, this game at TCU, I think those players are really, really ready to play. I like Gary Patterson here. So you kind of roll the same way?
Yeah, I think Gary Patterson's one of those coaches that I'm in the tank with, man. I ride the bad seasons out with you because when that guy's good, he's better than everybody else out there.
There you go. Let's move into the rapid fire segment. Texas at Texas Tech. That is 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Look, this is what I got to tell you. Texas is an 18-point favorite. Texas Tech's running back was arrested, I believe, just a couple of days ago. And, I mean, he ran for a ton of yards last week. He ran for a ton of yards against Texas last year, whatever. It doesn't look like he's going to play this weekend. Texas Tech's defense allowed 572 passing yards to Houston Baptist.
It's not good.
No. Not when you have Sam Ellinger coming to town.
It's not good.
Texas looked great against UTEP, but it's UTEP, so what are you going to say? I think Texas is really, really good this year. I mean, I really am all over them. I've got them winning the Big 12. I would roll Texas here. Anything under 3 touchdowns, I kind of feel really good about them. But I'm worried it's going to get me. So it's not going to be one of my official picks, anything like that. But I'm going to watch that line. I'm going to see what happens because I think they're going to put up a ton of yards. Alabama at Missouri is the next game. This is ESPN, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And this one's sitting at Alabama minus 28 or minus, 27.5 in some spots. It's sitting at minus 27 across the board.
127.5.
I will say this, that game opened up at, 26. And it jumped up to 28.5 in some spots. Nick Saban 12-1 against the spread in season openers at Alabama. Now, he's never opened with an SEC team, but Missouri, the reason this line has jumped all over the place, the reason this thing is opening, or it just keeps growing and whatnot, is Missouri's got 12 guys out for COVID protocol. Alabama has none. Alabama looks to be at full strength, and Missouri does not. So you got Nick Saban going up against a first-year head coach, second year, I guess, but first year at his new gig. That's not a recipe for success. I'm going to stay away from it. I mean, it's way too many points.
Big number, but Bama's probably going to cover.
More than likely. I mean, this seems like a 42-3 kind of.
You either bet Bama or you stay away.
You got it. NC State at Virginia Tech. That is the nightcap on the ACC network. Justin Fuente does not feel good about the way that things are going. They've already had to cancel the NC State game from a couple of weeks ago. And now they had the Virginia game last week that was canceled, right? We got all kind of issues going on. He doesn't know that they're actually going to be able to play this game in Blacksburg. This NC State game was postponed.
That's right.
So we'll see what happens with this. The analytics say it should be Virginia Tech minus 13.6. We don't know what guys are out. We don't know anything like that. We just know that there's a sizable number of Hokies that probably will not be playing in this game.
It is Tuesday from a Saturday night game. You do not need to be making action on this game until you know
who's playing. Yeah. EAB 927 said NC State's defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. It's probably true. Aaron Wolfgang said NC State as a dog is a smart pick. VT hasn't had a game yet. NC State has the points. Snag it up before the margin and the spread goes away. Well, here's the thing. It's already under a touchdown. So I'm iffy. I want to see if the NC State that we saw last week against Wake was legit or if there was something else going on there.
That's right.
Because every now and then you're going to have these late night games that just kind of go haywire. So it is what it is. Speaking of late night games, let's move into the last interesting game that we are going to discuss, and that is Troy at BYU. 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, and I am pumped about this one. We are going out to the mountains. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am excited about it. The analytics have BYU minus 15.39, and the line is sitting at BYU minus 14. Seems about right. Troy absolutely beat the brakes off Middle Tennessee last week. And BYU beat the brakes off of Navy, who looked pretty good against Tulane. I don't know that it matters because it's been so many weeks ago, but this BYU-Troy game could be very interesting. Now, I hate Troy's coach. I do. Chip Lindsey, I don't like him. I have no reason not to other than he went 5-7 with a Troy team that had only lost 8 times in 3 years. I grew to love Troy when Neil Brown was there.
But you love Neil Brown.
I love Neil Brown. But I love Troy because of Neil Brown. Yeah. And then
That's
Chip Lindsey came in there and went 5-7. Maybe it is. I
don't love Washington State.
I got a little emotionally attached.
As soon as he left there, I don't care anymore.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point. So I shouldn't be emotional about this game at all, and yet for some reason I am. Anyway, I'll be pulling for BYU. I want to see what happens if they go undefeated. I want to see what happens.
I want to make up game of the Army game.
Oh, I think that's going to happen. It'll happen later on in the season. But
I really wish we could have gotten it before we see Army Cincinnati. I'd feel a lot better about making a pick in that game.
Yeah, I can feel you there. You ready to make picks?
Let's go.
All right, official picks. These are my picks. Gary's official picks for the weekend. And I got a few of them. All right, I got 7 of these that I like. And we'll roll on with the first one. I've already given it to you. South Carolina plus 3.5 at home against Tennessee. Something's fishy about this. All this hype about Tennessee. I like Will Muschamp. I think I'm going to like what Mike Bobo is doing, the continuity between Bobo and Colin Hill. Colin Hill was great at Colorado State. So I'm going to take the Gamecocks at home, rolling with that one. Kentucky at Auburn. I like Auburn, minus 7 here. And I will take that all the way up to 10. I feel really good about Auburn. I think they have got significantly more talent. I think the combination of Gus Malzahn and Chad Morris will do too much to Mark Stoops' team. I think it'll be close early. I'm not worried about any kind of first half line or anything like that, but I think as the game wears on, too much speed, too much athleticism for Auburn. I think they cover a touchdown easy. Louisville at Pitt. I've got Pitt at minus 2.5. Make sure that you are shopping for these odds, by the way, over at sbrodds.com or sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. But yeah, I'm a fan of Louisville at Pitt. Give me the Panthers minus 2.5 at home against the Cardinals. That Louisville defense is trash. The only thing that I can trust in this game is Pittsburgh's defense, and I'm going to ride with that one. My next one, I'm rolling TCU. I can see it at plus 3.5 at a couple of different spots. I bet it at plus 3, but I will take the plus 3.5 on these official picks for the record. I like TCU, and I think they might win this game outright, for sure. And when it's only 3 points, I mean, it's worth a coin flip anyway. Give me that one. I'm rolling with that. Army plus 14. I don't feel great about that one because of the amount of wagers that are coming in on it, but I need to do a little more research. But I do like Army plus 14. This seems like a 34-21, 35-24, whatever, right? 28-17 kind of game. I think it stays under the 14 points. I think that Army gets that covered. Finally, I got 2 totals for you, and these are principal totals. One, UCF and East Carolina, I'm going under the 77 because that is absurd and ridiculous. There's no reason that this line should be 77 or the total should be 77. I understand UCF might beat the brakes off of them. East Carolina kept it close last year. It was 41-28, but even that was under the 77. So I'm rolling under 77 because it's the first game that East Carolina has played. I understand the continuity. Mike Houston, I love Mike Houston. I love what they're doing out there, but UCF is not going to get handed the football 4 times in the fourth quarter again. The odds of that are minuscule. They scored 28 points in the fourth quarter against Georgia Tech. Otherwise, they don't get close to 49 points against Georgia Tech. So Greg McRae is out in that one. Trey Nixon, well, Greg McRae might be out. He's got a foot issue. Trey Nixon has got some issues. He may not be playing. That's star wide receiver, star running back for Central Florida. I think that this one may be close, but even if it's not, I don't think it gets anywhere near 77 points. Finally, my last total here, Arkansas State and Tulsa. Tulsa scored 7 points on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's defense was not great last year. You ain't going to tell me that they fixed it that quick, just like that. Arkansas State is missing guys because of protocol and whatnot. Tulsa, Shamari Brooks, their star running back, tore his ACL in practice right before the Oklahoma State game. You saw what that offense was without him. This ain't going to get near 66 points. Unless they just start dropping the ball all over the place and people are returning punts. And now crazier things have happened.
That's right.
But I'm going the under 66 on that one. Let's move into Chris's official picks.
So my official picks, I'm starting off with UCF laying all those points, 27 of them, against East Carolina. I don't normally like doing that. I don't like playing these big games. UCF just has too much speed. They are one of the best teams in the country. They are going to have an argument for if they go undefeated, can they play in the playoffs?
In the playoffs.
This will be that year for that. Next pick. A little iffy pick, a little strange pick, but it's pick. Syracuse plus 8.5. Got Georgia Tech coming into it. Georgia Tech, the bell on the ball for 1 week. And what I say, let's be real careful. There's a really good chance Georgia Tech is exactly who we thought they were before the season started.
And analytics, by the way, have Syracuse favored in that game by 2 points.
Yes. And the fact that they beat Florida State should not sway us too terribly much. Syracuse played 2 good opponents. Pitt, North Carolina. The offense Syracuse bad. They're real bad.
But it looked better with Culpepper at quarterback.
That's right.
And Baber said that he's going to play this week.
That's right.
So
I'm going to tell you this. That defense is actually pretty good. The defense held North Carolina in check. They held, listen, that Pitt team put up 40-something points.
55 on
55 in week 1. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They put up very little. 21, 24, something like that. I'm telling you, Syracuse going to have a chance to win this thing. Georgia Tech is exactly who we thought they were. Don't let that week 1 scare you. You talked about the Tulsa Arkansas State total. I'm talking about Arkansas State -1. Arkansas State's going to win this game. Arkansas State is a good football team.
Yes,
they went into Manhattan and they put a whooping on Kansas State. This team can play with the best of them.
And that was with them missing 9 starters.
There are 9 starters, but you know who they're not missing? Them 2 big old hombres coming down the sideline. They've got speed and athleticism at the wide receiver position that Tulsa thought they were going to play against Oklahoma State, and they did not. They're going to see it this week. They're going to see it this week, and Arkansas State's going to get them the football, lay the 1 with Arkansas State. Virginia Tech against Oklahoma State.
West Virginia.
I'm sorry. Yeah. West Virginia. I got severe dyslexia. I looked down. I saw West Virginia. I said Virginia Tech. +8.
Yeah.
This is too big of a number.
You get it +8.5, by the way.
I didn't see it at +8.5. I think that 8.5 is gone.
Is it? Man,
I think it's gone. And I don't know if it's ever.
I don't know. Back. My bookie's got 8.5. 5 Dimes has 8.5. Sport Bet has 8.5.
Oh.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna take the hook.
Take the hook. That's what I'm saying. Take the hook.
Listen, I try really hard to not overreact to the week prior. So when I saw Oklahoma State and I saw the number, I thought there's a really good chance Oklahoma State's gonna come out and play a hell of a lot better than they played last week. But then I thought, you know what? Even if they do, I think West Virginia's a really good football team. Now we made mention of Troy earlier. I love Neil Brown. I was one of the biggest advocates for Neil Brown getting a Power 5 job. When he took that West Virginia job, I was ecstatic. to watch him. Now, last year was year 0, and I knew that. I was worried about this year because I thought it would take at least 2 years to turn things around. Their first game of the season, I know they played nobody. Their first game of the season, they looked like they had everything together.
Oh, yeah.
They looked organized. They looked like they could compete. I think they're a better football team. I think they can win this game.
I'm glad Darren mentioned that 5 dimes doesn't do US anymore. So don't worry about them. Either way, you can still find 8.5. So
Okay.
you're right. Neil Brown, by the way, won 5 games with that team last year, and I think their over-under was like 3.
Yes.
So
no, much improved,
yeah.
but they were really bad. The teams that they lost to last year, they got the hell beat out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But this is a different football team. Neil Brown is an outstanding football coach.
Yes.
Okay. I don't go against the mullet much. All right. You tell me to pick a fight between him and Neil Brown, I'm gonna pick Neil almost every time.
Yeah.
That's something I don't say a lot when it comes to the mullet. My last pick. This is a little close to my heart. Talked about it earlier. Ole Miss catching 2.5 touchdowns, basically 14.5 points. It's too many. You're not coming into Oxford, Dan, and pushing them around. You're just not. They're not going to let it happen. Lane Kiffin's a really good football coach.
Yes, he is.
I am excited to see Lane Kiffin and Oxford. And I think, unlike the most people around here in our world, think that this is Oxford for a couple of years. I think
he's going to be.
I think he's going to be our neighbor for a while.
I think you are correct about that. Before we get into parlays, teasers, whatever we want to discuss here, the fun stuff. Paul Rigg said West Virginia loves Neil Brown too. Corgi Small said, I got Troy plus 15. I don't like to go one game, but they look damn good against Middle Tennessee. That's true. That is true. Let's see. Corgi Small, I think the Syracuse Georgia Tech total is too high. 52 seems too high. Yeah, 52 might be, but that seems like it might be right around the number.
I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about that. I'm gonna tell you this. I think the wrong team's favored. When I saw 8, I thought it was crazy. 8.5. That's insane. Georgia Tech. Everybody's still living off that Florida State game.
Oh yeah.
This is the team that we thought was gonna struggle to get a win.
And don't forget, they got a freshman quarterback.
They got a win.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Now they're done.
Paul Rigg said, I like you, Chris. I'm a Mountaineer.
Thank you.
Let's see. Who else we got? Josh Benedict, Kentucky and Texas for me. He said Georgia State and Liberty both look good. They certainly did. Joseph Gomez said that Auburn line not moving, very shady. Well, here's the thing. It did move, and now it's moving back.
I was about to say, we had some early
line.
line. And remember, this is Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
Okay? We're going to see when we do our closing lines, we could be living in a different world come Saturday morning.
You've got that right. All right. I have a round robin, and I have a money line parlay. I got 2 of them.
You're just putting everything out there.
I'm going to have fun with this one this week. So I think everybody wants to have some fun. I'm going to have fun with it. Here is my round robin, okay? Take TCU money line, South Carolina money line, Syracuse money line, Florida International money line, and South Alabama on Thursday night against UAB. UAB's quarterback is out. They got some other kind of issues going on. South Alabama has looked really good. The Sun Belt as a whole has looked pretty good. South Alabama at home on a Thursday night. That could be interesting. So you got TCU at plus 115-ish. You got South Carolina plus 150-ish. Syracuse plus 240-ish. FIU plus 195. And then South Alabama plus 210. And those, obviously, you can find the best book for you for those. But a $20 2-team, 10 parlays of those would be a potential $138 if you're just doing $2 per bet, right? Then you can obviously do higher if you'd like to. But you can do the 3-team. That's also just $20. It's $2 per bet. A potential of $397. You just need 3 of those to hit. I think there's a strong possibility you're going to get some of those. So if you got a parlay, or do you want me to finish up with my money line?
You finish up with your parlay.
Here's my money line parlay, okay? These, I think, have the best opportunity to just win outright, okay? That's the way we're rolling. Texas, Boston College, Baylor, Florida, and Louisiana. Those 5, $100 will pay you out $92.94. That's all you got. And all they got to do is win.
That's all they got to do.
That's all they got to do is win.
That's all they have to do.
What's your parlay, man?
That's all they have to do. That's it. I don't know. It just seems too easy to me. I'm just gonna give out a 2-teamer. I'm gonna go with Neil Brown and I'm gonna go with Dino Babers.
I like that.
I think those are 2 coaches I trust a lot.
I can get with that. All right, you guys have been fantastic. Darren McCall, the last question here, said, is Army going under again?
Man,
It's 47.
I don't know. I like this Cincinnati team. Listen, I know the whole world loves Army, and I do too. But Cincinnati is some real dudes, guys.
Oh,
This is not TCSU or MTSU. This is not some of these small schools that you've been beating the hell out of.
No, you're right about that. You were right about that. Junior Brown, what do y'all think about the under in Georgia Tech Syracuse? We just talked about that one. You can always go back and watch the show. Travis Overstreet, wait, Chris, can you admit I was right about Navy last week? And Gary, I told you about Miami. Hey, you know what? You were right. You were right. Get them comments in here.
Navy does not deserve what they got. Navy does not deserve what they got.
It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. So, you guys have been fantastic. Now that the show is ending and whatnot, make sure that you jump into the comments, leave your picks. We want to be able to go back and check them out throughout the week and see what everybody likes, what they don't like, etc. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, that you like the show, that you click the links down in the description, all that good stuff. That way you can stick with us all season long. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be right back here on the Sportsbook Review YouTube page, having ourselves a damn good time. It's going to be a great weekend. The SEC is officially back. We got some big-time matchups. I cannot wait.
Go
Travis is bananas, man. Love you guys. All right, for sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
We'll see you guys next time.